Happy Sunday, everybody. Yesterday, this is my woodworking project. It's my first ever attempt at making a Sami Kuksa Cup. There's different types of these. The Sami are the indigenous people of northern Scandinavia. They speak a totally different language than the Scandinavians, the Germanic Scandinavians, I should say, the Norse. And so, anyhow, there's different types of kuksas. Some of these are actually like thicker, like that. And even the handle, instead of being wide like this, it's narrower, and then it's wide here with finger holes in it. So they vary. They vary. They can have one finger hole. They can have like two or even three, I've seen. So pretty cool stuff. This is the other half of the same log that this came off of. Now I have a war club made from the same material. It's supposedly Australian willow, and this piece was originally thicker. This is the thicker part. As I was chipping away at this thing, a whole corner of this thing broke off, and as I was trying to remove a section here, an extra like 3/4 of an inch just broke right off. Now it worked out because this is, I wasn't planning on necessarily going deeper than this, but yeah, things happened. Now there are a couple spots I had to fill in with some wood glue, very lightly. Like there is a crack visible right here that wasn't so obvious before, but it is for the same crack that you see right there. I added a little bit of wood glue on both sides. I'm gonna file this thing down, get a lot of the rough spots off, and then I'm gonna sand it afterwards. And I'm probably gonna drill some type of a hole right here just so it can attach to a piece of leather, which will tie to a belt. I'm going to try to be as traditional as I can with this, even though it's not the most common version of a kuksa. I've seen kuksas that look like this, and I think it's pretty cool. But this one I'll do the same with, probably with Michael. Of course, you see a little dot there. Now, this guy right here, originally, like there was a whole section of wood on the end. I didn't want to use the exact end because there was possibly evidence of cracks that I didn't want to affect this. Now, even still, there is a slight crack, exterior at least right here. I did add a little bit of glue on the inside as well. Just, you can't tell I added much glue to this thing because I wiped it down. I did kind of a wet wipe to kind of like remove the excess and not have to sand too much of it later. Once I'm done filing the material, I may have to add more glue. At that point, we'll see, and then I'll do some sanding. But yeah, this guy's gonna be same deal, but you can see that yeah, so there's a little bit of cracking right there, and of course here's the other end. I didn't store the material very well. I did kind of a green working of some other war clubs, two of which are in my shed. They've been drying for months since I began carving them. I just haven't gotten around to finishing them. The other club that I have is sitting in my room now, which I'll upload a separate video on that. But in any case, yeah, supposedly Australian willow. And if it is willow, and there are shavings that I collected out of this bowl, which, if it's willow, then you can make aspirin out of the tea from the shavings. I'm debating if I want to actually take that risk or not. But there are some, like for example, these two little lines here are actually from twigs that are like ingrown into the wood. There was also a twig that was coming out here that was making its way this way. There's a separate little knot right there. I don't want to carve too much deeper because I'm afraid that I might, like that might become that. So I'm going to file this side. I'm not going to do too much more sanding in here. I might do a little bit of scraping with the hook knife that I have, but we'll see. I used a wooden gouge, or a wood gouge. It's made out of steel, obviously, to do the bowl. I did most of the work with the gouge for the first time, finally using that curved gouge. But I did use a sloyd knife for some of the shaping here. I did use an axe, like right here you have lines. I did cut those with an axe. and I did chip off some material. I try to be careful though, because like right here, there's a, you know, little notch right there. I'm gonna have to file out. It'll be able to get filed out, but I don't want to leave too much of a breaking sensation. And since there is kind of a little bit of a crack on the front here that I had to glue, that might have been partly due to me chipping away with an axe right here. But so I just got to be careful. You want to remove the material as quickly and efficiently as possible. I mean, I spent hours working on this yesterday. Like, I spent at least an hour carving out the bowl inside the house, and then I spent at least 2 hours doing the rest of the shaping of it, which seems like longer than it should be for the amount of, you know, product that you see. But it was also my first time doing this. This one should be faster next time around, but I might save this for working on it with Michael, just because he was kind of taking my wood gouge and doing this. I had a cousin called me on the phone and chat for a while, and he was kind of trying to do this while I was talking. I'm like, no, buddy, you gotta stop. You know, I don't want him to like hurt himself with the tool. So, but I know he wants to do this with Daddy. Like, I was working on this for about 30 minutes before he woke up in the morning, and yeah, and it was cool. But yeah, definitely want to make more from this material, even though, yeah, I mean, obviously this piece has some crackage on it. That's also why I'm moving the bowl over here strategically and having the handle over here, because if that crack moves over, I want to make sure that it's not going to affect the bowl. So there is still that risk because of this right here, but we'll see what happens. I do have bigger logs that I can split that are going to have less problems, you know, in these affected areas as a result. But it will be more stock removal, even if I'm making a bigger like deeper cup and a wider handle this way and narrower this way. There's still going to be more material to remove from if I split these other logs for the sake of making kuksas, right? I definitely plan on making a few more of these things. They're kind of a cool thing to make. I'm probably going to make a Scottish quake, which has basically handles that big, but on each side, and the bowls, it's comparable size. But I'll probably do that at some point as well. I know that Australian willow is not the traditional material for kuksas or for quakes, but kuksas, I believe it's birch or birch burl, which would be really, really nice. Burl, I mean, you know, figured maple, figured burl, whatever, you know, or, you know, birch are very beautiful woods to work with. So, but anyway, so that's kind of my project this weekend, or yesterday, Saturday, and I'll do an update on this once I've done all the filing and sanding. You could kind of tell right here that the bowl is not totally straight from above, so I'm going to take a file to it and make it look nicer. It's not just a matter of removing all of this excess and all these little, you know, excesses here. It's an issue of straightening that out, flattening that out. So I will do that. But it is kind of a cool handcrafted thing to begin with. And you don't necessarily have to make it totally perfect, but I'm still going to make it look nicer. Anyway, I'll follow up in the future. And in the meantime, let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch y'all later.